I remember when I launched Iconic Digital, it was all on the basis of just trying to get free from my existing job. I was a marketing director for a global tech company at the time and was one of the youngest guys in that world. And I got out of that and started thinking, well, if I could just start my own business, then I'd be financially free. The only thing was I didn't realize that when you start your own business, you become the finance department, the marketing department, the sales department, operations, everything. And it began to consume me. And perhaps you're living in that void at the moment where the business is consuming you rather than benefiting you. If you're in that place, have hope. Take courage, because you can do this if you become a learner, if you become someone who understands how to apply systems in your business. So, how are we doing on time? Oh, on a countdown, 20 minutes to go. Okay, I'm going to introduce you now to what I call the 7 steps marketing chassis. Now, the reason I call it a chassis is because rather like a car, you can have the most beautiful Porsche, Ferrari, Bentley, Aston Martin, whatever your preference is. You can have the most beautiful looking car, but if the engine of that car isn't ticking over, it's never going to move forward. So it's so important that you establish and build on a framework. And here's one that we developed. It's based on a very smart scientific method. Essentially, it relies on your digital asset sitting at the heart of what you do. Everyone say digital assets. What's a digital asset, I hear you ask? Well, it's a website. Why do we need a website in the modern internet? Well, it's still the place that people visit. By the way, your tracking and your analytics doesn't happen on your social media. It happens on your website. So we need a website to draw people to come to us. And then we've got these different marketing channels that sit round the edge of this framework. And the first one of those is what I call search engine optimization. Now, I don't call it search engine optimization because Google's market share has actually dipped. It's gone from 24% of the global search market to just 19% of the global search market in a matter of 6 months. And I have to be very careful what I say because I'm an enterprise partner for Google and they're good friends of mine. But what I will say to you is this. These days, because of AI and the open AI, it's changed. We're now using ChatGPT, Perplexity, Copilot, and all the others. So it's important to understand the framework. Before we get into this, though, I want to just ask this question of you. What do you think marketing is? What is marketing? Because if we don't understand what it is, then it's very difficult to implement it. And some of you theorists and the guys who have been to university, you might throw 5 Ps at me, and product, price, place, promotion, people, or you might even tag on process and a few other things in there. Now, I'm all for that, but what actually is marketing? Just think about that for a moment. A few years ago, I ran a campaign for a client, a big telecoms provider up in Scotland, and we emailed out to 20,000 of their customers, and we broke the telephone system. It was one of my most successful campaigns I've run. So many of their prospects called within about 10 minutes of receiving the email that the entire sales team collapsed. The phones went down, and what did they do? Well, they made a complete mockery of the fact that they were a leading telecoms company because their phone system didn't stack up. So here's my definition for what marketing is. Let's put it on the screen. Marketing is a process. Everyone say process. It's a process of creating consistent flow. Everyone say flow. Flow is important because if you have a peak without consistency, then you haven't actually got a sustainable business. And how many people know that marketing has to produce valuable clients? Not every client that you have is going to be valuable. Yes or no? Yeah, so valuable customers are important. Why? Because we've got to make our business sustainably profitable. Okay, if your business is not profitable, then you need to understand the power of marketing. Now, 7 years ago, most business coaches would have told you that the most important part of a business is to know your numbers, and therefore the finance system of your business is the most important one. I know I'm a bit biased because I'm in marketing, but I want to dare to say to you today that the marketing machine in your business has to be your main focus in a post-COVID world. Why? Because marketing is all about connections. Connections with your prospects, connections with your customers, and this is what this marketing chassis does. If you're in a business that's going to get growth and going to get scale, as we look through these 7 different digital channels in the next 10 minutes, I want you to see that you can get profound change to get connections with your prospects and customers. Okay, let's go with the 7 steps marketing chassis then. It starts with Search Everywhere Optimisation. Say Search Everywhere. Why? Because 96% of web users still begin their purchasing journey with some form of search. Now, that might happen on Google, but it's probably these days going to be happening on things like ChatGPT. And this is so important. So how do you get your website onto ChatGPT, I hear you ask? Well, it's very simple. You've got to have 2 things set up. The first one, of course, we all know about the Google Search Console, but ChatGPT doesn't work through Google. That's because Microsoft owns a large share in the OpenAI, and therefore it uses Bing's ecosystem to manage search. So you've got to go and get the Bing Search Console, and any large language model, what we call LLMs, those AIs work through being able to crawl what's on your site. And to get into ChatGPT, you've got to have what's called an LLM.txt file on your website. Very, very simple. If you don't know how to go and create one, why don't you go and ask ChatGPT and it'll do it for you. Okay? So an LLM text file goes onto your site, and that's an index of all of the different pages that are on your site. The next thing you've got to do is understand search intent, right? Everyone say intent. Because many people are just searching for information, and there are 4 types of intent. The one that we should be concerned with as business owners is transactional intent, because those are the searches that people are looking for to make purchasing decisions on your business. So transactional search intent is really important. Therefore, your website must answer the questions that people are searching right now. How do you know what people are searching for right now? Well, it's really simple. Go to a website called answerthepublic.com. Okay, answerthepublic.com. And that website is going to tell you from Google and from Perplexity and from ChatGPT what are the most common questions people are asking about your product or service right now. And then it'd be a really good idea if you actually took those questions and started writing content to go onto your website. Because how many people know if you answer the questions that people are searching for, then you're going to start getting the impact and the visibility that you need to grow your business. Okay, the next thing is all to do with links, and links are still important today. Someone said to me, Steve, SEO is dead, link building is dead, and I looked back at that person and said, well, you don't know anything about how the internet works, because it's about authority. Everyone say authority. How do you get authority for your website? Well, it comes from content that links back to you. Could be press releases, it could be PDF submissions, social media, could be any manner of different things like that. The important thing is making sure that you can generate traffic that's meaningful and relevant. So, how many leads do I think that I'm going to get over the next 90 days from doing Search Everywhere Optimisation? Well, I thought if I'm working on the basis of about 3 to 4 leads a month, very, very small number, then that gives me 10 leads that are going to come from Search Everywhere Optimisation. I think that's pretty fair. And by the way, as you scale this and you do it month on month, this figure just continues to grow and grow and grow and grow. So 10 leads from Search Everywhere Optimisation. The next thing you've got to do in the 7 steps marketing chassis is you've got to focus on paid search. Everyone say paid search. Paid search is where people are searching to find you, and this is where you can get all manner of different types of search results, and you obviously get the top 3. Now, 96% of us skip over the top 3 anyway. We go straight to the organic results, don't we? So we trust those, and that's all good and fine, but it still means that 4% of the audience are going to click on the top 3 spots within Google. And more importantly than that, people are going to see your adverts in the top 3 spots of Google. And friends, if they don't click on it, that's free advertising. Hello, free advertising, that's brilliant. So getting yourself onto Google and onto other platforms is so important. And remember, it's about the phrases that exhibit transactional intent rather than just the ones that exhibit informational intent. Okay, we've still got the Google Display Network, thousands of websites that display banner ads. And every January, I'm always hit by this because I buy pretty shoes and handbags for my wife at Christmas. And then in January and February, I'm retargeted across social media and online for more and more handbags. So they've got it wrong in their customer persona with me, but nonetheless, I do look at the ads and I save them in my reel for next year when I come to buy the next Jimmy Choos or whatever they are for my wife. So remember, retargeted customers in a B2B context, that's business to business, are 72% more likely to complete on a transaction. What does that mean? If you're not following what remarketing is, here's how it works. Someone goes to your website, okay? You ask them, do they accept cookies? 98% of people click the banner that says yes. Well done. You just allow cookies on your device. And then for the next 30 days, you have been added to a remarketing list that wherever you go, across Meta, across Google, and various different other platforms, you can receive ads that were related to what you searched for and clicked on that website. So going from here, you're probably never going to accept cookies on sites anymore, and that's fine. But, you know, retargeted customers in a B2B context are more likely to convert. So if you're not doing Google Ads and you're not using retargeting yet, then it's something that you can implement super fast. And remember, friends, to make sure on your remarketing banners to put your telephone number. Why? Because if you put your telephone number and they pick up the phone and call you, it's free. Oh, you should have said amen to that one. Free advertising, brilliant. Okay, the next thing is that with paid media, we can get a proven model of conversion. In other words, when we send people to an optimized landing page, I know from my stats looking at all of my clients that I can generate a 3 to 13% conversion. That means for every 100 people that I drive to that website, I'm converting 3 to 13 leads. Make sense? So when I look at my model for how I can get 100 leads over the next 90 days, I know that I can probably get at least 10 or 20 leads coming over a 90-day period from Google Ads from a fairly modest small spend. But I'm also going to get 5 more leads from retargeting through the Google Display Network and a further 10 leads coming in from me remarketing. Does that make sense? So I've now got 35 leads from doing a bit of paid search. So the next thing I want you to do is to think about your content. Now, we've all got the expert content writer, Al Gibson, in the room. Now, he's the one you need to go to if you want good quality content. What's content about? Content is about getting your business found on the phrases that people search for. So how many people are doing blogging? Okay, a few of you in the room doing blogging. How many people are writing their blogs via ChatGPT? Okay, if you're writing blogs via ChatGPT, that's great, but remember, Google isn't going to index anything that contains AI markup parameters, so go and use a free tool called Phrasely, phrase.ly, and humanize your content. That's just a freebie. Come and ask me questions if you don't know about that. Okay, so with your content has to answer the questions that people are searching for. It's got to be long form, in other words, 1,000 to 1,500 words now. It could be product-based, it could be the 10 best things to do in your sector, the 10 worst things to do in your sector. It's going to have your how-to articles, all of the above. So remember that long-form content is the thing that's really going to add value. So how often should you be blogging? Well, the statistics that we've done through the research shows us that clients that blog a minimum of 3 times per week get more traction than those that blog once. You say, blinking heck, Steve, 3 times a week? Do you not realize I'm already in business? Well, yeah, your content marketing is becoming more of a full-time job. So start to utilize your AI bots more effectively, and that will begin to start generating you more traffic. So how many leads can I generate from content marketing? Well, content marketing sits in the middle of the funnel, so it's way less than paid media. But I reckon over a 3-month period, I could at least get 3 leads coming from my learning center. Based on that, they ask you answer strategy. Marcus Sheridan's your man for that. If you've ever come across him, he'll do you a whole teaching on that. Go check out his books. So I'm adding 10 leads to my 100 leads plan from content marketing. The next one is social media. Everyone say social media. Now, love it or hate it, you've got to be on social to get found. And remember the marketing funnel. At the top of your funnel is brand awareness. The middle of your funnel is market engagement. And the bottom of your funnel is lead generation. Where does social media sit in the mix? Well, it sits right in the middle. It's your engagement strategy. Is it going to lead generate for you? Probably not. It's only going to lead generate for you if you're running paid advertising on it. So it's really important that you choose the right platform. Here are some E's to help you with what to do on social media. The first E is engage. Everyone say engage. Engagement is about sparking conversations, building community and interactions. Okay, the next thing that we need to do is entertain. Everyone say entertain. Yes, as a business owner, you are also an entertainer. Humorous content still gets more engagement than the ones that are boring. So keep your attentions living and active with fun, interactive stories. Make it human. Follow the trends. Go for it. All right, number 3 is educate. Everyone say educate. Provide value, okay? Answer the questions that your audience are really concerned with. The next one is empower. Everyone say empower. Empower gives your audience the tools and the call to actions that they want and need. If you're telling them the wrong information, not asking them to do anything, hey, guess what? They're not going to do anything. So provide a strong call to action. The last one is enroll. Everyone say enroll. Enrollment is about moving people from followers into actual brand fans. Why is brand fans important? Because in a B2B context, businesses that create brand fans grow 8.5 times faster than those that don't. If you've got a raving fan because of the service that you deliver, then you're going to be getting the engagement that you want in your business. Okay, everyone say get ready for growth. Are you ready to get your marketing working? Yeah? These are just some practical tips. So I reckon from content marketing, I got 10 leads, but I reckon from my social media, I could probably get 3 a month as a conservative effort. And remember, as you build your followers and they begin to grow, your reach is going to expand, your influence grows, and you start getting more and more engagement. So this just builds month on month. So 3 leads a month over a 90-day period, that's 9 leads from social media. Well, what's next? Well, we move on to paid advertising via social media. And this is where Meta collides with TikTok, collides with YouTube. How do you know what platform to be on? Well, here's the difference, friends, between Google and ChatGPT and social media. When you're looking at an audience that are looking for you, those people are exhibiting what I call transactional intent, yes? They're searching to find you. What are they doing when they're on Meta? That's Facebook, that's Instagram. Are they looking for your business, yes or no? Are they looking for your business, yes or no? No, what are they doing? They're looking at their pictures of their friends and their family, and they're browsing and getting entertained by all manner of other thought leaders. So remember, your meta ads have to be disruptive. And this is where I call it stop the scroll. In other words, people are scrolling through the For You page on TikTok. They're going through Reels on Instagram. Your advertising has got to get them to stop the scroll. Now, we don't have time to go into how you do that today, but remember, if you're going to do meta ads, you can be incredibly targeted, but you've got to grab their attention. I love what Gary Vee says. He says, social media is free. He actually adds an extra swear word in. I didn't think it'd be appropriate for church, so I left that one out. But he says it's free, okay? So make sure that you understand the cost of production, because there is a cost to do social media, but the posting of your content onto different social channels, LinkedIn included, is going to get you engagement. Okay, so how many leads can I get from spending £1,000 over a 3-month period on paid media? Well, at least 5. Okay, I'm not promising that every lead that you're going to get is a sales qualified opportunity. We have to understand the difference here between marketing qualified leads that hit certain variables and parameters, and then what transfers into a sales opportunity. I'm confident if I convert 1 in 4 MQLs, marketing qualified leads, into sales opportunities, then I am generating a model for scalable growth. Okay, so 5 leads a month from my meta ads. The final area is what I like to call marketing automation. Everyone say email marketing. After today, my dear friends, you will never, ever, ever send an email newsletter again. Okay, why? Because if you're in B2B, most of your email newsletters won't even get delivered into the inbox. Your newsletters are dull, drying, and frankly, make my eyes bleed at times. So please don't do them anymore, but instead focus on these 3 parameters. You need trust, interest, and action. Who does trust come from? Well, trust comes from the sender alias. Now, I'm very careful about defamation of brands, so as you take pictures on this, please note that it's House of Blazer and Joan Louise and Argues rather than actual brand names. But nonetheless, sender alias is really important. The sender alias builds trust. Did you know that emails get opened more if they're from a real human rather than a company name? So send your email marketing from your name rather than from your business name, unless you are a B2C brand that's building brand loyalty. Okay, next one is interest, and that comes from your subject line. Remember, in the modern internet that we're now living in, subject line is driven by AI. So the content you put into your email will automatically be translated into the interest of what's in the subject line. So make your subject line count. The final area is action that comes from the preview pane. Why is the preview pane important? Because when you look on your mobile, 76% of people check emails on their mobile before they do on desktop. And the preview pane at the top, if you're sending an email newsletter, the likelihood is it will say something like, if you can't read this email, click here to view it on a browser. Okay, you've lost your real estate to grab attention. Here's the other thing. Whenever I send an email out, it's really great because I can put a cookie onto the email. Now, Al, this isn't the cookies we eat. This is about secret codes that exist within the email. Now, when that email goes out, the cookie contains all of your personal data. Name, address, telephone number, email, your business name, etc. The moment you receive that email, the email client automatically downloads that pixel onto your device. Okay, it happens automatically. You don't get to approve it, it just happens. When you say yes to cookies when you visit my website, this is what happens. I suddenly capture your information because you said yes. And then I pull your data into my platform, into my website, and then I can track your behavior. So I can then be smart and do both what I call triggered emails as well as scheduled emails. The difference, scheduled happens at 10:15 on a Tuesday. Why 10:15? Because 90% of email marketing happens at 10 a.m. Therefore, don't get lost in the noise, do it at 10:15. Okay, that's a freebie as well. So utilize some lead tracking software here so that you can monitor who is on your site. I'm not talking about HSBC and their 10,000 employees. I'm talking about knowing that Susie Daniels at HSBC is on my site, for example. Okay, so making sure that we are driving conversion is really important. Here's how it works. For every 10,000 emails sent, you're going to get an average open rate of 10%. Okay, 10% means 1,000 people opening the email. 1% of that audience are going to click. That means you've got 100 clicks from 10,000 emails sent. Now remember, a landing page, a squeeze page converts what? 3 to 13%. So that means from running one email, I can generate 3 to 13 leads. So if I do a weekly email, or dare I say just a monthly email, I can easily generate 21 leads. So friends, that's how you generate 100 leads over the next 90 days for your business. This is how you get the scale and the growth. You might say, Steve, this is phenomenal. I've never thought about marketing like this, measuring and testing, doing all of these smart things. Here's the thing, friends. If you don't focus on your learning and development, then you're never going to achieve the results that God intends for your business. Why are we talking about transformation and about impact? I know when Rachel gets up and speaks to you, she's going to bring the house down and segue this into biblical truths of understanding of how to do kingdom finance, and you're going to be blessed by what she has to say. But remember, if you haven't got your learning right, then you can never be who God has called you to be. You can never do the things that He wants you to do. So transformation is all about impact. Don't settle for survival in your business. Everyone say, build the machine. Build the machine, then you have the system. The system generates leads. The system helps you to generate profit. Your profit can transform lives.